Hello and welcome to this week's Scriptcase project video. My name is Jamie and I am your host. So in today's video we are going to be checking out how to apply a custom grid template so that basically you can make the grid application look however you want. It's pretty awesome, it's pretty powerful, just like everything else in Scriptcase, and we are going to start off by creating a new project. But first, we need to add the database. So here I have my database open already and I have created a new database. So I'm going to paste in here the script for this, and we are going to create a clients table with some very default fields, and you can adjust those and make any adjustments that you like. It's entirely up to you. And of course, make any changes to the insert. We have some clients that we are going to insert. We have a list of orders, and we then also have some products. And you see I'm just adjusting the auto increment here and some order items. So basically, it's a small platform where basically orders are created for clients. Pretty straightforward really, and yet not so straightforward. Okay, so I'm going to leave here the enable foreign key checks and go and just make sure everything checks out. And there we are, everything looks good. So we have now here our clients table, our orders table, our order items table, which is linked to the orders table, and the products table. Now the orders table is of course linked to the products as well as the clients. So if I come in here, we have the client ID, the invoice date, due date, subtotal, discount, and total. For the clients, we have the client details, the client ID, and typical information. For the products, we have the ID, the name of the product, and then the value. And then order items, it's a cataloging table of our order, the products that have been ordered, and so forth. So it's pretty straightforward, and really you can apply this grid to any other applications or any other database, because it's entirely up to you. You create the template. So let's start off by creating first of all a blank project here. And I'm going to call this sc_custom grid. And go next, and I will choose then the database that I had just inserted, and that is then the sc_grid custom. Go next, and just like that I have added the database, selected the languages. I will choose here the soft cloud as default and go create. And just like that, we have gone and created our project. So in most cases, I would not go ahead and use the batch applications because you could end up with way too many applications. If you have 50, 30, 50, 100 tables here, then don't use the batch applications. It's good for when you want to create those chunks of apps that you need, like we do now. We just need a few of these applications here, and we are going to then go ahead and create them. Now here, the order items and the grid and everything, generally you may not want those. You'll see why in a few moments. So I will go ahead and generate the source code for each of these, and we're not going to make many adjustments really to the forms themselves because today we're all about the grid. Okay, and we'll be showing you how to add a header in there as well so that you can customize the headers or the grid application or even the footer if you like. And it's pretty, as you're going to see, straightforward once you know how. So let's continue. So here I have now my application selected that I am going to generate using the batch applications. So here I will call this my client list, and here I have my item list. And then here I have my order list. And then here I have my product list. Now for each of these here, I will have then a basic edit insert. And here this is then for the client, so we can add or manage our clients. For the items, for order items, now this would essentially only be an admin application. So I'll add that here into the description so that I know that when I then of course come to assign groups and so forth later on. Okay, so then I have here my orders, and then here orders, And then here I have my products. And of course, you will then go ahead and create alternative applications, make further adjustments. And as I said, we're not really touching the forms today, so guaranteed you will adjust those forms, set all of those data types for those fields. In this case, as I said, we really just care about the grids today. So I have gone ahead and opened everything just so that we can check everything out and view the applications that we have. So I will start over here with the form clients. And if I run the form clients, we can just see that we have here a very basic form and some client information. Now, you would generally, of course, go ahead and make adjustments there. And today, as I said, we're not going to. We're literally concentrating just on the grid application. Okay, so here we have then the order items, and here of course you would apply here the unit price, total and so forth. And for the orders, the same thing, you would make an adjustment. So again, this is the default generated form that you have within Scriptcase. And the options you then have are then very powerful. So by default, we have the option to add further items because of course it is a form. We could save the details here because right now for each of these forms we have data available within the database, within those tables that we had just added. So there we can now save this data. So I could adjust this value from 35 to 55, click the save button and it will change. Or of course I could delete the product. Now you can make tons of adjustments to the forms as well as use macros and so many other features within Scriptcase to really adjust those forms however you please. Okay, so as I said, we are concentrating on the grid applications and we have now the grid clients, the grid order items, the grid orders and the grid products. Now what I am going to do is create one new application and I'm going to create here a menu, and for this menu I'm straight away going to import all of these grid applications. We don't need the grid order items, so I will leave that one out. So we just really want the clients, orders and products, and I will go import, and then we could just very quickly make adjustments to these, change the view of those so at least they look nice and they're easily understood by the end user. Okay, so here then we have our orders, so I'll add that as a list in here, and then our products, we need to then add maybe a box or something or whatever suits you. Maybe you prefer something else. Okay, so I will save that and then I will come here through the menu and disable all of the options here and remove all of these because we're concentrating on the grid today and we're just going to go ahead and enable the loader here only and save that. Now here in the settings, I want to actually set an application as the main page and remove the open in tabs. And then here I will choose here the grid clients. So I will add that in here. I could also just click here the icon and that will then open the selection window for me and I could then select the application. So whichever you prefer. Okay, so with that saved, let me go ahead and run that. We did generate those applications. So there we have then our first application. So that should be grid clients and not form clients. So let me change that to grid clients. And just like that, we can make that change to how the menu is then displaying our applications. Okay, so we have these three options here. We have the clients, orders, and products. And we're going to now just adjust these three grid applications and leave the menu. But what I will do is click here the run button and then I will be asked to choose my initial application. And there I will choose my menu so that when I now run my project, it will then start the menu application. Because we have no security today, there's no advancements, there's no additions. It literally is just the pure concept of the grid application, applying headers, maybe footers if you wanted to. We won't be adding footers, it's the same as a header, and of course applying the custom grid layout. Okay, so let me very quickly come here to grid products. I am going to remove a lot of these options from each of these, and if you have watched me create these videos, then you will know my typical steps. So I will be setting here the table width to 100 so that it's nice and wide. And that way it pretty much fills up the whole page. Now, we do have some padding around the grid application here, and yes, if you watch generally, then you'll know we have here the vertical alignment, and if I set that to top, it will squish that into those corners there, remove the padding and everything, and it will be quite nice and big like so. And I want to apply that now to all of these applications. I'm just going to do that very quickly here, and again 100% settings. I have the auto save enabled. If you do not have that enabled, then you can enable that up here within the options, and there you have then my Scriptcase and settings, and there you have a ton of options and how you can configure Scriptcase for your personal use. Do check that out, and of course adjust to how you like to work, and it will make a big difference in your project development, of course. Okay, so I'm nearly there. I have nearly adjusted all of these applications. I'm now on the order items, and on each of them I am removing the search module, the detail module, the summary module, and the chart module, returning back to grid, setting the width to 100 and for the unit as percent, and then accessing settings, saving along the way, and vertical top, so that they are all nicely squished in. Now, if I go ahead and use the run button again, it will generate the other two applications there I did not generate along the way, and we now have all of our applications updated, looking a little nicer. Okay, so for our grid clients here, I actually want to make a big change here. So we have so many options on what we can display, how we can display everything. So I'm just going to make a few adjustments here to the fields. Again, what I'm really displaying within the data, I don't think is really that important today, but maybe how we apply the connections and so forth, because there are so many ways in applying these connections. So I'm going to use a few of them today along the way. So here for my clients, I want to first of all copy here the orders, and I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to say grid orders, and I want that to be the customer orders. So with this, I'm only going to display orders from the customer. So if I click on the application to open it and then access here SQL, I'll take client ID and adjust here the select statement, set that to a where statement, and then we can also go ahead and add here the client ID, say equals, and that will then equal, say, our client ID, just like so. And if I zoom in there, let's see that a little better, make sure I spell that correctly. We have client underscore ID, save that, and we have there a custom view here. So when I now go ahead and run, and if I add one, it will now only display my orders, or the orders from user 1. We have here the ID of the orders, ID 1 and 2. So we could just go ahead and adjust these views if we wanted and have the data displayed however we wanted to. Okay, so now what I want to do is come back here to my grid clients and come here to application links. And I'm going to delete here the form clients, because, well, we don't care about editing the client data today. And if you want to add the edit, maybe try out here the action bar. So you could create a new action bar button. So let's actually do that for the edit. And we have that then also as link, and then go next. And if I set that as a button, font awesome, and then I leave the state or the ID as state 1, because with Ajax we can apply multiple states essentially, or multiple IDs, which they essentially are, and then you can adjust them accordingly, which is a very nice feature. So for instance, if you have a lock functionality within your form, you can adjust the button according to the status of the form or the data, whichever you like. Okay, so here let's add then in here an edit icon and save that. And then that we can then link here to our form clients, and then like that, our ID to ID, confirm, and we can open that, say maybe in a modal window, because that's nice, and I'll say 600 and 500. In fact, let's widen that. And then just like that, I have added an alternative edit option here to this grid application. Instead of the default edit option, which then also adds the add button, and then of course you do not want that. So just like that, it's removed, and you could also hide the button within the toolbar or using macros if you wanted to. Okay, so we have here our client list now. Now we want to apply another application link here, and that link is in fact a field link, and I will set that to the name, and then the name will come then here to the grid orders customer. If I go next, client ID is then ID for the client tables, and then we can say in the same window, save. Okay, so then just like that now, if I go run, we will have then our menu with an updated grid, our orders displayed per user, and then here we are also again going to make some adjustments. So here we have then the orders by customer, and here we have removed the modules already. We have applied the width as well as the settings. We can adjust the fields. You can do that as you please. That's not the important topic today. So we have then again here the application links, because this links then to the form orders. So I would delete that again because we do not want really the add button here, and if we do, then we want to create an add button maybe to redirect that to an alternative order form and not the actual admin edit form. Okay, so you could apply the same action bar button again if you wanted to, or an alternative option such as using here the application links. You can add that edit link again by selecting here the edit link. You can set field links on any of the fields within the application, within now this grid application, and then a capture link, which then captures data from other applications, which is a very nice feature, but another day. Okay, so we have our field link and our edit link. Now, I don't actually want to create any links here for our orders customers, but what I do want to do is create an action bar button. But before I do that, let's create the new application for that. So we have here our grid orders, and then what I'm going to do is then I'm going to replicate that, and then I'm going to call this one grid orders underscore invoice. And from there, then we are going to generate an invoice. So if I open then this new grid application, grid orders invoice, and we should have the same settings applied because it's replicated from the other grid application we have already pre-configured. So we've saved a little time there, which is very good. And then here within the SQL, I'm going to go ahead and change this to ID. So from orders where, and then ID equals, and I'm going to call it order ID underscore ID, like so. And there we have then the order ID being requested. And if I go ahead and run that now, we have that variable being requested there. And if I enter 1, there we are with the orders number 1. Okay, so this is then the start of our custom grid application. Now with that set up there already, I can already go ahead really and add that here to my orders customer. So if I create a new button here, I'm going to call that button invoice, and then that will be a link, and that will then come to my grid orders invoice. So I'll change that again to a button, font awesome, and then in here I'll enter invoice, choose an invoice icon. We can add a hint in here, view the invoice, and save that, and then choose here the orders invoice. Go next again, and then here we are transferring ID to ID, confirm, and we can open that in the same window, but I think opening that maybe in another tab is better. And then we'll choose here initial mode grid, and we can pretty much leave everything else as it is and click save. And now if I go ahead and run, we will now have for our order view for our customers, then also an invoice button here that we can click, and that will then open up our custom grid over here. But before we do that, let's apply here first of all some custom headers, because We want our applications to look semi-nice today. So I will come up here to Layout and HTML Templates. And then here we have Header, Use the HTML Grid, and Footer. So I click on either of these and it will expand a load of options in there like you see. And within that they are categorized by Scriptcase, Public, and Project. And User also. Okay, so with those, you can create your own custom templates. And the important thing about templates is that your fields that you want to insert into your template are always encompassed by curly brackets, like we have here. So with these curly brackets, you will then be requested within the application what to insert or what to associate to this value. So let's start off by creating a new template. And I will call this template my grid header, because I just want it for the grids. And I will apply that to the headers. And here for the mode, I can choose public and have that available for the world. Project only for this project, or user. So I'll choose project. And then now I do have the option to drag and drop files. So I could have prepared the code externally and then now import it. It's functional, it works, it's however you please, whatever works for you. And in many cases, you would typically create your HTML content off Scriptcase. But today, I have everything prepared on the side. And we have here, first of all, a header template. And we have here some custom HTML styling. And then here, we see that we are applying the CSS Fun cab and the CSS cab, which are in fact Scriptcase styles. And then we are applying here the SC header and SC extra, as well as SC value for the fields which we are going to insert into here. So if I go ahead and save that, and now I will need to open my applications again because they are not going to have this header template available yet. Okay, so if I go edit and open them all up again, we will then have within the layout settings, and then here I can choose the header template. So here if I scroll down to project, I now have the grid header available. And I think really with the applications open, I really just needed to change to the settings and it would have been already available. So I could have probably saved a little time there. Okay, so now I've applied that here within the header and footer, I can now adjust the titles that are applied. So here, for instance, the title, I can apply the title or a field value, a date if I wanted to, an image I can place in here, a value, any type of value. I can code a value in there, even add a script, a search criteria, as well as a one by one or one by line search criteria. So here I will choose the title so that it will implement here my grid title. And then for the value, well, here I'm going to place an image in here. And if I come here to project, I have no images. But in public, well, I have lots of images. So here within the image manager, I can choose via resolution. So let me see, any 12 pics, 16 pics, and then we have some nice 16 pics, 24. 24 is nice. So here, let me choose this one here. That will do. User. In fact, no, I will choose the bomb for products. Add selected. Let me go ahead and run that now. And there we have our new header applied here to our grid application. So let's very quickly then apply that then here also to our other applications here. So we apply that then also to the header and footer. Now to save yourself some time, you could apply this pre-project, apply your header and footer, and then set the header within the default values. With that set, all future applications will be generated with your header. You will just need to pop into the application and adjust as you need. In fact, here for the invoice, we are not going to display a header, so there I will save that as no header. For here the grid customer, we have customer, so yes, here we will want the header and apply a suitable image for that one. And again, we just adjust here the options, can choose the resolution, and here I'll choose the user image, apply that, and there we go. We have again now orders by user, and come here to clients, apply the same one there straight away. and down, grid header, and there we go. So we're nearly there. We just have one application left to go, and we have then all of our applications configured with then our new header, which is very nice. And just here now the items. And of course you would apply any images that you would want to have applied here. Now if I go ahead and run the project, we can actually check that out within the menu application. And again, you would of course adjust the titles as you would want them. We have then the custom header applied to our products. Our orders not yet. So let's check here our grid orders. So there we did not apply that. And there of course we would want to have that so that we have the same look and feel throughout our project. And that of course makes a big difference for yourself as well as your users, because your users feel much better then for sure. Okay, so let's run that one last time, and then we see here we have now our clients, our orders, our products. Nothing special, custom headers applied to each of them, looking pretty snazzy now. And then when I come through here to the clients, I can view here then the orders per client. Now what I do want to do is actually insert here the items. So here within the orders, we have here our order items, and here I will come to the SQL, and here I will say where order ID equals our order ID. Just like that, and then we can go ahead and save and then associate that to here our orders table. And what I want to do is actually add that as a nested grid in here, because I think that's a nice little feature. Now you could add that as an advanced nested grid. I'm not going to do that today, but maybe another day. Okay, so I'll call that then order items, and just make sure we have no fields called order items within this grid application. Otherwise that could create some issues. And if I go there, create, I can then choose here the order items, select then the order ID, just like that, confirm that, and then we have here our items added to the order. So I'll set the iframe mode to set individually, enable tree view, so that then is displayed on the side like so here, and we can drop that down beautifully, and then we can see all of the orders according to that order, which as you see, the grid has not yet updated. So if I come here to run project, it will generate then that missing application. And then here, when I come to orders, for instance, we have them now only for the associated order. So that's beautiful now. And of course, now all we want to do then is add the invoice there. And we could add the invoice directly into the orders table as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here as well. So let me come here then to action bar, create a new button, and then here, call that button invoice, and we'll give that a link again, next, button, font awesome, just to keep it simple. Otherwise, there are a ton more options there and so many possibilities for your button view. So do go ahead and check those out, because of course there's so many of them. Okay, so for our grid orders, we were applying our invoice. So we have here our grid orders invoice, go next, order ID, confirm that, and again make sure that opens in another tab, set that to grid, and we should be good. So just like that, now within even our order table, we have then here the invoice, and if we go run, we have that then within both of those views. So here for the user, here we don't have the nested grid however, but we do have that here within the orders, and here you can then also open then up our invoice, which will be. Okay, so for our invoice, let me go ahead and close all other applications because they are pretty much done. We will need the HTML template still, so keep watching. Okay, so for our invoice, we have quite a lot to do on this one, but as per usual, I'm going to speed things up and copy and paste because we've done quite a few things here within the platform just to show you how you can apply. Now, the most important thing of today's video is, of course, the grid template. So the grid template functions the same way as the header. So if I come here to new template, I will choose here the user HTML grid and click save. And of course, I am required to add a name for this. So be sure to add your name. So I'll call this sc_grid TPL _invoice. And then I'll go select the mode, and then I will select the mode because that is also required, highlighted in red here. And again, I will choose project. I would go save, and just like that, I have created a custom template for my grid invoice. Okay, so now if I go ahead and copy then the custom HTML for this grid application, and what I'll do is I'll just paste that directly in here. And what we can see is that we have some CSS styling. We have some very basic code created in HTML, containers, and a very nice layout, an image posted in there, and more. And all of that is available within the project, so you can check that out and apply this. Now do note that on the left hand side, if you have imported any of the Scriptcase projects from the channel, then you will have all of these alternative options available to you, and you can check them out and see how they are created. Some of them are very complex and pretty awesome. So with that then created, let's go ahead and make sure that is saved. And to do that, I will then choose here a different template, and as it says, do I want to save them before leaving? Yes, I want to save them because I had lost here the button to save somewhere. Okay, so let me go ahead and check that again. There it is, and there is my save button again, and there is then our custom template. So let's go ahead then and adjust that here within our orders invoice. So if I come back here to settings, we do not have yet any options here. And the reason for that is because we haven't applied or adjusted this grid to be set within the orientation as user defined. Now, once you've done that, I save, the field's positioning here will change. So if I come here, it now says user defined template variables. And this is empty because I have not yet assigned the template. So if I come now here to settings, now I have the body template available. And here I can then choose from those available templates for the grid application. And there below, we then have the view of that. So as you see, this is going to create a custom invoice, which you'll be able to download. So I will save that and then return back here to the field positioning. And then here we can assign the fields. So we have here the due date, the invoice date, so that is also a field. And then we have the discount, which is also a field here. The amount items ordered, we'll add that one in a moment. And then we have here the order ID, the subtotal, and then also the total due. And that is there. So if I go ahead and save that, we have then our application grid invoice pretty much ready. So let me open then ID 1, enter, and there we are. So as you see, you retain the menu at the top, which is nice, and you can then download this as you please. Right now, we are only opening one, and of course, if you are viewing many records, you will have them one after the other. Okay, so let's quickly adjust this. I'm going to come here to the toolbar. I'm going to remove all of the options and then add here the exit so that you can exit the application because it will be opened in a tab. And then I will add here one of these separators in here. And then I'm actually looking here for the PDF export. And then just like that, I have now an exit button and a PDF export button, which then generates this PDF for me, which I can then open, download, send, and so forth. So just like that, we have customized our invoice here, but we still have a field here because if I run that, we still have the order items, which are not displayed here. Okay, and we have a few ways of doing that. So right now within the grid template, you could adjust the code to not include those items. You could remove this if you wanted to, and very easily use here the nested grid and add a nested grid into your application. And that would of course save you from any other adjustments. But in this case, we're not going to do that. In this case, what we're going to do is we are going to first of all make a few adjustments here to the application. And within the on-script init here, we will apply first of all some styling, and that will change then the styling a little more. There we go. That makes it a little fatter and sweeter, and applies here the Bootstrap framework. Now what we want to do then also is on record, we want to fill in our order items. So here we will be applying our items ordered, or I should adjust that here, and create this field now. So now we will populate that extra field with a new field that I'm creating, items ordered. Click create, and just like that, that field has been created, and with our on record here, it is also populated. So I can come here to field positioning again. Items ordered is now our field, items ordered. Now if I go ahead and run, and then we access again order ID 1, and now we have our orders or our ordered items displayed within our invoice. Okay, so just like that, we have applied here a custom application. Now what I do want to do is adjust the clients and change how this is actually looking within the application. So when I go run, that's what it looks like right now. I'm not really a big fan of that, so let's just go ahead here to events on script init, and here we have some custom HTML styling for this application using also Bootstrap, because again, just applying Bootstrap actually makes adjustments to the styling here within the application. And there we are, look at that, very nice. And we could apply that then to each of our applications if we wanted to, and that would then give our applications a uniform look. Okay, so here we then have our orders, we have then our invoices also. We can PDF that beautifully and download that, and I think with that we are done for this week's video. So I would like to thank you very much for watching, and of course if you'd like to learn more about Scriptcase, I also have a channel called Scriptcase by Jamie here on YouTube. You can check that out and learn more about how to create awesome platforms within Scriptcase.